Hello, race fans. Welcome to another episode of Short Track Guys Podcast, brought to you by ShortTrackExclusives.com. I'm your host, Thomas Faddis, alongside two other short track guys in the studio, Jim Pokrant, driver of the 07 Can'tQuitFishing.com sportsman and 2021 sportsman champion here locally at Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida, and Ted Baber of Ted Baber Video Productions, also the short track to the southeast here at Pensacola, Florida at Five Flags Speedway. What's up, guys?
Good evening.
What's up?
Man, I'm telling you what, if y'all haven't been paying attention, and I'm just talking to our listeners, this past weekend was a lineup that we're going to try to cover as much as we can, but we've got some super races that happened this past weekend.
Ooh, oh, yes. Yeah, definitely. Good action. Good beating and banging, good swapping paint.
Good loud.
Good old short track racing.
Yeah, we're going to get to it here in just a second. We're going to touch locally. I know there's been, the last couple of episodes we've had here, we've had kind of a break as far as the sportsman stuff goes at Five Flags Speedway. Jim, I know you've been battling back and forth in that sportsman car and the pure stock kind of thing with your teammates and everything, but what's actually going on and how are you getting ready for August the 12th as your next event?
Yeah, it kind of sucks. We're actually thinking about going to Montgomery and maybe running a race. We'll see what transpires in the next couple of weeks. Montgomery's running Saturday night, but we just don't have time to go. Last race car was rolling over real hard on the right rear, and I changed some stuff in the front of the car, and I should have changed some stuff in the back of the car, and I didn't, and I'm going to for this race. I'm going to rescale it, and we're going to try a couple little things, try to get it a little bit faster, because we're only hundredths off, so it's just needs a little bit. And we're getting Ben Cranford's car ready for Mike Gorham to drive in the next Five Flags race on the 22nd of this month. Because Ben hurt his back and can't drive. So Mike drove it in the last race. We're going to let him drive it in this race and have some fun. We're fourth in points. We're not doing too bad, but our chance at the championships, it's slim and none unless we have a double points night and we win and a couple guys have trouble. Can happen, but I'm not giving up. But the last race had a wheel come loose. I think I told y'all about that. So now I got to pay for a wheel that's junk, which I made a table for my living room out of a wheel off my other car. So now this new rim, I'm going to put another tire on it and put it on there, and that's going to be for that because the rim's useless. The rim that's on there is usable, so I'll give it to Ben Cranford and let him run it, and I'll put this one and make a new table. So, But yeah, we're going to be ready. I think we want to go run Montgomery maybe or go to Opp or something. We just want to race somewhere else because we don't have a lot of races, and it's just because of car count and with Mobile opening back up and they run a different tire. It's hard, and I can understand with Gina and what she's trying to do and Tim he's trying to do. We just have to suck it up if we want to race, and next year we're going to do some wheelman racing. And while I'm at it, thank you to Ted Baber for his help, Martin Beck, Ben Cranford, man dude, for the motor and the carburetor. Thank you so much for that. All Pools, Rich Bonneberger, thank you for the sponsorship. Victor Herm at Premier Window Tinting for his help this year. Of course, James at Can'tQuitFishing.com, which I forgot to mention, he lost his girlfriend a couple weeks ago to a rare liver problem. And we're thinking about you, James. I hope things get better for you, buddy. And Emerald Coast Remodeling and Trim. I can't thank my buddy Mike Davidson enough for all his help. And they're friends that sponsor me, and I appreciate them. You know, this podcast is cool. I get to do this, but also get to get behind the wheel. And I was going to semi-retire, but you know what? Heck with it. I'm going to keep going because I love doing this, and I'm going to keep rolling.
That's awesome, and we'd love to hear that. And I know the listeners are probably asking themselves, well, he's talked about retiring and all that and go part-time. And so things are a little different, maybe. Well, we'll see, but it gives us a little hint. But I got a question with the Montgomery thing coming up. Mm-hmm. You being 46 points behind in the sportsman class. The next race is August the 12th. Say you do go and have the funds and the means to go to Montgomery and potentially not come back so well. How do you make that decision to say, well, do I want to continue and pursue this championship, back it up from last year, or take a chance just to go have fun as a racer in Montgomery?
Probably just go have fun as a racer and see what happens. I mean, I've got some friends up at race up there. The last time I was up there, I finished third in a super stock race. That's been quite a few years ago, which, man, I keep looking back and how far long ago that was. It's kind of scary, I'm getting older. But Montgomery's a fun track, and I just, right now, we're 46 points out. It's just not going to happen. there's only like 3 races left. And I mean, I would have to win all 3 of those races, and the 2 guys in front of me would have to finish last or, get disqualified. Both of them had to get DQ'd and probably have a finish behind me. So it's probably not going to happen, which is cool with me. I mean, and I tell you who I'm pulling for, Brandon Fowler, because he's a 850 local Pensacola driver. I want Pensacola drivers, not Mobile drivers, winning track championships. No offense, Mobile guys, but I'm an 850 driver. I'm cheering for Brandon Fowler. Go get him, Brandon. Win this championship for us local guys.
Yeah, I'm sure the guys in Mobile feel the same way with the Mobile drivers.
Right. Oh, I'm sure
they would. So they understand that comment.
The rivalry used to be a lot stiffer when there was more cars. Right. I mean, we used to have a pretty good. They hated it when we'd go over there and take their money home, and there was lots of times I went over running the top 3 and would take their money home, and they hated it.
They're between 15 to 20 cars back when you and I were. When I was with the group, there was at least 15, if not more than that.
And they would run nose to tail over there for the first 5 or 10 laps. I mean, it would just be in a pack. It was even. 14
of them did.
I drove that thing, and it goes in the corner. It was like an old woman with a broke hip. It'd just fall over on the right rear, and that was terrible. And I'm like, dude, we got to fix this, and we did. And him and Marty swapped 4th place that night. I know 5 or 6 times. So I saw the video. It was exciting to watch.
Yeah, it was rough. I mean, it was rough. I mean, I didn't know my, thing from the other thing. And I spent 10 years out there and met you. And I've known both of you guys for 15 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I appreciate your help. And it never really, I mean, I don't understand, but I had fun. I wouldn't change it for the world.
No.
I still see the videos that Ted puts up, with the driver cam and the GoPros and all the videos, and it just it's exhilarating, and that's kind of like the passion that we have with short track racing. Whether you've been in it, in any other way that you're involved, short track racing is where it's at, and that's why we do what we do, and I love talking about it.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. And the thing is, back in the day, I didn't have any money either. Lots of times I would show up and buy people's used tires, or my buddy Dave Redden out of Las Vegas now, they used to be in super stock when I did, and they'd pull all 4 tires off and buy 4 new ones, and they'd bring me their 4 old ones. I'd take them home, clean them up, and 9 times out of 10, I got a rim because Dave didn't believe in dinged up rims. I'd fix them and race them. But, it was cool because I could run in the top 6 or 7 in super stock, because everybody with the new tires would fade towards the end of the race, and I would kind of make it up and pass a few. I had a good chassis. It was an old car, but it was pretty good. But, I mean, I was having fun. And now, but what sucks is that when you start running up front, now it's not fun anymore to ride around. Now, when you can run with them, you want to run with them. And this year has been frustrating to me, just totally frustrating, because we've been hundredths of a second off. In the last race, we're running right there, and then that wheel came loose.
Yep. Right. Yeah, so, it's tough. I mean, you got to have everything right that night. You've got to have everything on spot. You can have a good car and then come back in 2 weeks. You could come back in 3 hours, and it'll be different. Well, so you've got to stay on top of everything.
I agree, but here's the thing. Last year, I scaled that car 6 times during the regular season at the shop. Didn't really do a lot to it. Rarely ever touched it at the racetrack, and I was in the top 3 every single race. It's the driver on a bias ply tire like we run on. The driver does make a difference,
right?
Because if somebody's terrible, they're going to be terrible, and you put the best car in the world underneath them. I know some people that are spending a ton of money to come out there and are getting their butt handed to them. Because I'm going to tell you something, Steve Buttrick, and people know that name, he wore us out with the biggest piece of junk in the division. He just knew how to wheel that car, and it'd sit on the trailer. He would put it on the trailer, put it up on blocks, take the good tires off of it, put an old set on there for it to sit. It would sit on the trailer during the week, and then he would bolt the good tires on, unload it, come out there and wear us out. And there was nights he didn't buy tires and would run in the top 3.
Well, when he came out from the dirt track. He learned, like, as a marine mechanic, he learned. Right. He knew, and I'm sure he won tons of races on dirt. And he came over the first season, he tried to figure it out, and he was kind of way under the radar. But when he figured it out that following season, dude, it was Katie bar the door.
Yeah.
He had figured it out, and he was the man to beat every week. He would tell you. He would help you. Yep. That doesn't mean you're going to
John Ruth
beat him.
John Ruth had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, John Ruth has a lot to do with my setup. I had talked to him about the spring situation, but John Ruth's very smart, and he knows his stuff, and he built my shocks. And when Steve and I had the accident and Steve quit, and I went and talked to John. He started helping me. John's never lied to me, never told me any fake untruths, and told me that every time they tried something cheated on that car, they got caught or had to change it, and it didn't make the car any faster.
Right.
It's the man behind the wheel. Steve Buttrick would be. This is how bad it is. Buttrick gets in. Stevie Mercer built a brand new car. Eddie Mercer's little brother, and he drove Stevie's old car. Steve did, and beat him in it. And then got in Jimmy Goodwin's car, which couldn't run in the top 3, and wins the feature that night. You can't tell me it's the car, it's the man behind the wheel. Nothing against Jimmy or against Stevie, but the man was just better. And I have to admit that it took me a while to admit I was angry and mad and calling him a cheater and everything else. And he was just out whipping us. And I beat him twice in my career. Once in a vintage car. Of course, I had the best vintage car on the racetrack. That one of Dave Redden's was bad to the bone. So
yes, it was.
I just had to stand on the gas down the straightaway and I'd pull off of him. He'd beat me in the corner, but I'd smoke him down the straightaway. And that's all I needed to do. And then the other time in the sportsman car, we battled for like 10 laps. Just he'd get under me, I'd get by him, I'd get back around him. And I was so wore out at the end of that race. I was so tired and out of breath.
I remember when Steve Buttrick, Steve Stagner got his motor and went slower.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Chopper. Yeah, but Chopper's stuff was so cheated up, he wouldn't even go to tech. Chopper, like, he'd win the race, he'd just go ahead and pull it on the trailer. I ain't taking nothing down, y'all can't. Because Johnny Green ended up with that car, and when Johnny Green got it in the shop and got on the lift and went, he sold it.
Right. That was the night of the claim, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the night that Stagner claimed
Buttrick's
motor. And I got the word back that Buttrick said, just come get it.
Yeah.
You can have it.
Yeah.
Dude,
$3,200, $3,500 I think it was to pull it.
Yep, Buttrick was winning races with a motor that when he went to unload it one after the season was over, it sat on the trailer. One of the cylinders hydro-locked. Wouldn't turn over. They unloaded it, pulled the plug out, and water went everywhere. So they poured some liquid glass in it, and he ran the rest of the season and won like 3 races with that motor with liquid glass because it had a cracked head.
Wow.
Yeah. Tell me that dude he was bad to the bone. And Steve, if you ever listen and somebody tells you I owe you a big apology because I said some things I shouldn't have, and I apologize. You're the best driver amongst all of us. That's just all I can tell you, dude.
Yeah. It was impressive, and I'm glad to have gotten to know him. He helped me, a few times when I did get to know him. He was certainly somebody you go to the racetrack going, okay, if you want to win, you got to beat the best.
Right.
And he was one that there was, if you wanted to come win a race or even finish top 3, you had to get by him somehow. And if you did that, you might end up winning. And so there's one of those little things that you look up to when you get to the racetrack. It's like, okay, where's Buttrick? And he's going to be up front. So, and all you guys, you guys all taught me a lot. And
well, the rule
I wouldn't have taken anything away from it. I had fun. I am so fortunate to, kind of stand up and say, I've done it, been there. I know what it feels like, and I'm able to talk about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people get hurt, they get injured, and I know it's a dangerous sport, but you don't think about that when you get in the car. When you turn the engine on and everything starts rumbling, you just put the helmet on, and like Walter says, your hero. Everybody goes stupid, and that's kind of true, but it's the focus value. I can't explain it, but I wouldn't throw it out the window. I'd do it all over again if I could.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't change a thing of the way I'd done it. I just love doing it. You being behind the wheel of the car is the way to go. Have some fun.
Exactly, and that's what you're going to do again here August 12th. But before that, we've got a couple of races Friday and Saturday night on the 22nd and 23rd of July at Five Flags Speedway. Let's see, we've got the Alan Turner Pro Late Model Race on Friday. We've got Blizzard Series Race number 3 on Saturday night.
It's going to be big. It's going to be big.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what.
I wonder how many guys are going to do double duty.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure some guys, if there's a pro race on Friday night and Saturday night, they're going to bring both cars. So, I'm sure like people like Matt Craig, maybe Bubba Pollard, definitely the 18 car.
Hunter Robbins
will probably do double duty.
Yeah, he's been on a stroll.
Yeah,
Jake Garcia's another one that'll probably do double duty.
Yeah, Jake Finch. A lot of those super late. Stephen Nassy, obviously, he's a double duty guy. This guy, and we're going to get into that too. Ted's got a big story coming up with the Southern Super Series at New Smyrna that happened this past weekend, which we're going to get to. But this Friday and Saturday night deal at Five Flags is going to be a big deal, and I would expect most of the field, if not at least half of them, running Friday and Saturday night. Why not? Why wouldn't you? If you have the capability, you have what you call a stacker.
Yeah.
You put the pro in there, you put the super in, and back them out, set up 2 tents, and why not run Friday and Saturday night? Because you're going to be here.
Right.
Going to be very interesting because I mean, you got Bubba Pollard leading the Southern Super Series points. Hadn't won a race yet this year.
Yeah.
But he's been consistent.
Yep. Been there Pretty much every week.
Yep. And Hunter Robbins has won one, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a cool deal when it comes down to that championship. And you know what I love about Bubba Pollard or somebody like Hunter Robbins? They're going to show up at our awards banquet.
Right.
I respect that. And that's a lot of guys have done, very few guys have done that. We just don't want to go down there and do that, but they'll show up.
Yeah.
And that I respect, because you won the championship. Come get your trophy and do it in front of the people that were there while you were doing it. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, exactly.
And with the lead in single digits down back to 5th place, things could change in a hurry on a night like Saturday.
Yeah, and that Friday and Saturday night with the Alan Turner Pro Late Model race, and then the Southern Super Series race number 3 on Saturday night. Those Southern Super Series races are pretty interesting, and we had one this past weekend in New Smyrna.
Yep.
In the Battle of the Beach 100, and Brad May, the famed number 9 down there, it seemed to have upset a Southern Super Series field.
I don't know if you call it an upset or not. That dude's pretty bad to the bone at New Smyrna. He's won a lot of feature races down there. But, I mean, against the crowd he was against that night was pretty big. Yeah. But like I said, that dude's got he's got more laps in that place than probably Bubba Pollard has. So, yeah, congratulations, Brad May. That's pretty big to beat those guys.
Yeah, and he sat on the pole, led wire to wire, and finished first over Matt Craig, Jet Nolan, Jake Garcia, and Bubba Pollard comes home, unfortunately 5th, and didn't make the turnaround to get to Slinger, which we're going to get to just a second. But hey, a little bit of a notable. The buddy that's got on a hot streak with that Ronnie Sanders group, Hunter Robbins is 7th, Michael Hind is 8th, Michael Atwell is 9th, Daniel Dye, which we've talked about last episode with Mark Martin coming up there, finishes 10th, 13th is Jake Finch, and Stephen Nassy, unfortunately, was 2nd place finisher, but had some issues in tech and was relegated to 19th. So then he did make the turnaround, and he will be in the lineup next in Slinger. But other than that,
he didn't learn from the best.
I'm understanding that he had too much wetness on the left side of the car, and it was just too heavy. He said the cover of the seat was too wet, was soaking wet, and his driver's suit was soaking wet, and this was soaking wet, and just an oversight.
Okay, well, see, here's the thing about that. The soaking wetness came out of the body, so the body weighed as much before it got wet. Okay, so that's a crappy excuse.
Actually, should be lighter.
Well, magically appear.
Well, but you can't. It's not like somebody just poured a bunch of water in his seat and then he sat in it. It was from him sweating. So yeah, that excuse doesn't fly like a turd in a punch bowl. Sorry, dude, it just don't work. You say that all you want to, but no.
Yeah, I don't know that they intentionally did anything. I don't think they really go to a racetrack to kind of, create something to their advantage over the fields. I mean, it's all fair in racing, right?
Nobody would ever cheat. No, they're all little angels. They all got little halos above their head. No, sir, we would never do anything like run a lead radio or let's see, mercury in the fire bottle, and I can move it from one side of the car to the other.
Tungsten sockets,
or lead that drops out of the car when you take a little screw out, and all the lead falls out one side.
Treating tires.
Nobody ever does anything like that. No. Or like I said, put sockets and stuff in your thing to make weight because you made the car so light to win the race, and then your crew stuffs sockets and stuff in your pocket so you make the weight.
And then they fall out, darn it.
Or you're nervous and you go clinkety, clinkety, clinkety. What's that in your pocket? Nothing. Come here. Put it out. Ricky was like, see ya. That was Stephen Wallace. He's got Tourette's anyway.
Yeah, well, that's a great series. And Bubba Pollard taking over the Southern Super Series points lead. He leads here in the Super Late Model Division at 5 Flags over Hunter Robbins.
By a lot.
Not by a lot. 2 points, and John Boland by 4, and Stephen Nassy by 6. So, taking that Southern Super Series lead. I know he finished 5th, and I was really hoping he'd have to turn around to go to Slinger, but that didn't happen. Stephen Nassy was able to make that, and so I'm going to turn it over to Ted. Ted's got some big news up there at Slinger, and man, we've talked about Slinger and at ARCA Midwest Tour.
It didn't matter who showed up there at Slinger because Donnie Wilson once again had the car and he had the driver and he won. William Byron won yet another one. That's like
William Byron, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Willie B.
Yeah, the guy that drives in that other division we talk about every once in a while. Yeah, that dude there. Man, I don't know. He has just been wearing them out. The cars have been great. The action was great, and it was a wild night, no doubt about it. Ty Majeski and Luke Fenhouse, they battled for a while, and then they battled each other a little bit too long, and that's when William Byron said, guys, I think I want to take this one over, so bye. You'll have a nice day.
Well, they should have just stayed side by side because that would have solved the problem. He couldn't go nowhere if they stayed side by side and then just battle to the end. But
you can't get three wide at Slinger.
But sure. William Byron barely wins cup races. Right. And didn't win any late model races hardly at all when he was racing late models. Now all of a sudden he's kicking butt. Yeah, there people were on the line complaining about that car. I think there's more to it. I'm not going to say more than that. Congratulations to him. I'm glad to see he's winning. But I mean, when you don't win in a big series and you didn't win in late models when you had them before, and then all of a sudden, I mean, look at there's a picture of this car. If you look at the nose on that thing does not look like it's a legal super late model, my personal opinion. And not only that, but Donnie Wilson runs mainly Toyotas, and he's a Chevrolet guy, and Chevrolet will fire you if you drive something on another racetrack besides Chevrolet's.
Will, he got away with that one.
Well, but I'm pretty sure they rebodied the nose and call it an Impala, I guess. But because I remember when Tony Stewart was racing for Toyota and he started running sprint cars, Toyota went, you got to run our motor or you're not going to get to race. And Tony didn't like that, but, hey, you want the money, you got to do what we tell you.
Well, there are templates that they go through tech, right? Pre-race, pre-qualifying, and then post. They've got templates to put on there, but,
Sure. But what's not to drop a couple $100 bills while you're in there and somebody, oh, look at this. They look under the rear end, there's $100 bill. Oh, look at that. I didn't see nothing. Because that's happened in the past, by the way, Thomas. Just in case you live with blinders on and don't see it, tech men do get paid off.
I tend to look the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everything's fair game, and whatever you do, you run what you brung.
Hope you brung enough.
Yeah, and there's several great tech men that have taken payoffs, I know personally, so it kind of sucks that they do that, but they got to make a living too.
Oh, what was that finishing order there?
Oh, good Lord. It was who he beat. It made a big difference too, because as I said, Byron won it, Fenhouse was second. The California kid, Derek Thorne, was third, and then had Austin Nason. Matt Kenseth, for crying out loud, comes in fifth.
Going for his 9th, by the way.
Yeah, well, sorry. It didn't happen that on that particular night. Stephen Nass, he had the 6th place finish. Then Jeremy Leaphack, Casey Johnson, Jeff Storm, Jacob Nutstadt, Alex Prunty, Brad Keith, Ty Majeski, after all that beating and banging, came home in 13th place. Andrew Morrissey, and then Ryan DeStefano. Boy, this is going to be more fun as we get further down the list here. In 15th, John DeAngelis in 16th, Rob Braun 17th, Sammy Smith. Now, that's an unusual. He finished 18th. That's kind of unusual for him. And Carson Quapple in 19th, Grant Griesbach 20th, Dennis Prunty 21st, Derek Kraus, again, a little bit unusual, in 22nd. And then, okay, here we go. Levon Vandergeest. Hope I got that one right.
Yep.
24th, Steve Apple in 25th, and R.J. Braun brought up the tail end of the field.
Yeah, that and if anybody has not seen any races, whether it's on, I don't know, a scooter or a super late model Slinger, you're missing out, because a lot of the drivers were interviewed and they were asked, can you compare this track to any others that you might have been around? And they all said no. The closest one that they came to was Bristol, but it's a lot shorter. It's a quarter mile, not a half mile. It's high banked. It's short. You got to make quick decisions. Really, really tight corners, high bank corners. You got to make quick decisions and get around that place.
And you better have a good spotter.
Yeah.
Because you will need a good spotter at a little track, because everything happens so fast, your spotter's got to be on his toes.
You'd actually be a good one, Jim.
Me?
Yes.
I've done it before.
Yeah, you'd actually be a good one, because you've got the gift.
The problem I have with being a spotter is I get excited. I have to learn to check my enthusiasm. Like when my driver takes, like, yeah, man, get him. And it's like, oh, stop, just go. Good job, man. Go get him. And the last 2 times I spotted the driver, I had gotten 2 bad crashes. Not my fault. And I called him clear and everything was good, but because of another driver. But maybe one day. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I got a really good spotter, and a dude named Zach Morris and Frank Utzi. Frank's my main spotter, but Zach is my backup, and he spots for a couple of people, and Zach's really good. And so Frank's done me a good service for years, Got to have a good spotter at a short track.
Yeah, you got. I mean, that's all part of the team too. You got to have good people on the grounds inside. You got to have people up there to see what's going on and direct you through traffic. And communication is key.
Yeah.
And apparently this Donnie Wilson team with that 24 and William Byron. I mean, just listen to it. He just wins the Slinger Nationals, the Clyde Hart Memorial 100 at New Smyrna, the Easter Bunny 150 at Hickory, the North South Super Late Model Challenge in Nashville, the Money in the Bank at Berlin. Okay, and he's got plans probably to come run that 24 car in the Derby here in December.
Well, you got to look at it this way, too. I mean, when Sammy Smith was driving his cars regularly, winning. When Chandler Smith was driving that car regularly, winning. Willie B's driving it, it's winning. It's the car, too, because I'm sorry. Those cars are meticulously prepared by a bunch of guys that they're getting paid good money to put these people in good race cars.
And they always sound so much different. You always know in a Wilson car.
Oh yeah, it's got a funky exhaust to it.
Yeah, we've mentioned that before in several episodes when Donnie Wilson really started doing this venture with the 22, I think, and the 24.
Right.
I think they've got a super late model stable because Sammy Smith, I think, runs. Does he not run with Donnie Wilson?
I know
he did,
but
he hasn't in a while. He's been running the truck series.
So it's mainly the 24 car.
Swallich.
Yeah.
He's won some races in Donnie Wilson's car, in Pro and Super. He did win his first Super race in a Donnie Wilson car. So, I mean, it's the stable.
Right.
Those cars can be beat. They're not kicking ass at Pensacola. I look for Bubba Pollard to win Saturday night just because he's so good at Pensacola saving his equipment. Just like the night we got this fender off the car that he came from 17th.
Right.
I said, he'll never win this race. He got to the top 5. I'm like, we'll take a top 5. And then we got to the podium. Like, all right, that'd be, whoa, wait a minute. He might win this.
He's going to go after it.
We were rocking the grandstands yelling. But super late model racing, I don't care. I'm tired of people saying that asphalt super late model racing is not exciting. If you don't like what you saw at Slinger, you didn't like the last time we ran Five Flag Speedway, there's something wrong with you as a race fan.
Yes.
Sorry. Dirt, asphalt, otherwise, it's exciting to watch. Get your butt out of the damn seat. Put down the computer, put down the phone, get your butt to a racetrack and watch it live. To heck with watching it on the computer. Right. You don't get the same thrill getting hit in the head with a dirt clod or a rubber pellet come up and hit you. Get out there and go to these tracks. Yeah. And as a parent, these parents all want their kids to race. Build them a street stock. Yeah. Build them a mini stock. Put them something cheap. Let them get on the racetrack. You, Dad, get in a race car. Do something. Stop letting these tracks close because there's no cars on the racetrack. And older guys like me are going to have to quit eventually. And when we quit, there's going to be nobody to replace us.
Well, you've got equipment to pass on to somebody, though, too. So
well, not really, because the cars are becoming obsolete. The cars we're running now with the stock frames are going away. So then you got to buy one of those aftermarket frames, which is $1,800 without a cage, without sheet metal, with
suspension.
No suspension. You're just buying a bare frame. Then you got to add all your stuff to it.
Right.
Then you got to put a cage and interior sheet metal, and by the time you spend all the money, you got $20,000 in a street stock.
That's not a beginner class by no means.
No. I mean, my idea of a beginner class, and I have a great idea, Crown Victorias.
Yep.
Bone stock. You can lean the right front end 2 inches. You got to run street tires, 4-point cage, good seat, belts, winning net, gloves, fire suit, shoes, and all the good safety equipment. And they have to be bone stock. And I'm talking about, I don't want a K&N air filter in there. I want a stock Wix out of the box air filter in a stock, no drilling holes in it, no doing nothing special to the car. Put it in the driver's hands, and that would be some great racing.
Let's get a soccer mom class out there with the SUVs.
Oh, dude, they got a mini. I heard today on Jack Root's Wind Tunnel podcast, there was some short track guy who won the minivan class. They actually have a minivan class.
Oh, boy. That'd be fun to watch. I'd like to see a 4-cylinder pickup race.
They had those, man, but pickup truck parts are so expensive. That's why stock type pickup truck classes, not like the ones we run, which are metric chassis, the same chassis I'm talking about, the trucks they run at Five Flags, or the Pro Truck Series, they're not pickup trucks. But actual pickup trucks are so expensive because parts are expensive. That's the problem. It's a good class. Don't get me wrong. I've seen them run. They put on a hell of a show, but you can't do it because the parts are too expensive. I think front-wheel drive V6 would be another good one because there's plenty of Monte Carlos, Cutlasses, cars sitting around from the 80s and 90s that are just sitting around doing nothing. Put them out there. Put a roll cage in them and turn them loose.
Taurus with the Yamaha V6 in it.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. I mean, it would be cool. Speaking of short track racing, we need to go to Nashville because the SRX series was there and they had the Masters of the Pros late model race. Thomas, let's talk about that. I love the SRX series so far. This year has been really awesome, and we've agreed to that.
Oh, yes.
Well, we haven't had any repeat winners so far, which is a good thing. They opened up their season here at Five Flags with Elio Castroneves, Mr. Spider-Man climbing the fence, and our hero Bubba Pollard finishing second in the feature, winning the first heat race. So they went on with Tony Stewart. Bobby Labonte ends up winning this weekend at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. They had the Masters of the Pros, the Pro Late Model race. They got a little bit of a weather delay, had to stop, let the SRX because of a CBS contract on TV. SRX went, and then they finished up the Pro Late Model race. But, man, I'm telling you what a great weekend that was in Nashville.
Oh, God. And talk about a historic racetrack, too. To run the SRX series, they've been in Pensacola. They've been at Stafford. They've been to South Boston. And now at Nashville. I mean, that series is cool. And it's on national television. It's short track showcase.
That's the best part about it.
Those tracks are our track.
Yes.
Our track got on national television. And the guys that won and run up front talked really good about our track. And like I said, shout out to Shannon Arden for making it look like a show place again. Beautiful job. And I just love this SRX series. I hope they expand it for a few more races next year.
That would be great. I mean, a few more of the iconic tracks.
Yes. I mean, not short tracks. Of course, we're short track guys at short track racing.
Yeah. And then a lot of the, Haley Deegan, Matt Hirschman, Doug Kobe, Bubba Pollard, Luke Fenhouse, these guys that get invited because they've earned the right to be in that field, it's got to be unbelievable.
There is going to be great too.
Yeah, the only thing I like about Nashville is a fan vote. I don't kind of agree with that because you can stack a fan vote and get somebody in. No offense to Cole Williams. I know he topped the charts in one of the practices and destroyed his pro late model in the Masters of the Pros race. So congratulations to Willie Allen on winning that one because it's been a long time since he's been in victory lane. And
Willie Allen. Is that War
Shocks.
Yeah, War Shocks and Rackley. They've got the truck series going on. They got drivers all over the place, and he's been here in that Napa Super Late Model for the Snowball Derby here several times, and everybody knows Willie Allen.
Yeah, but I mean, especially when he does suspension, because like him and Gale Force and all these guys that build suspensions and shocks and shock packages for these cars, they're making a living working on short track race cars. That's just cool.
And Willie Allen comes out with $10,000 over Gio Ruggiero and Jackson Boone, the top three. It's a really good race there, but the big event was, the SRX. We had the Outlaw race here at Five Flags Speedway before the SRX went on. They're both great events. I'm sure they were there in Nashville. The Fairgrounds Speedway is a very popular racetrack. I had the idea that the front row with Marco Andretti and Bobby Labonte, either one of those win the race, I was happy.
Yeah, that's cool, especially in Andretti. I mean, can you imagine getting in one of those cars and racing guys like Elio Castroneves and Marco Andretti and Bobby Labonte, who's a Cup champion, Ryan Newman?
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, those guys are, Tony Stewart, 3-time Cup champion Tony Stewart.
Yep. And Joseph Newgarden was in it this time, too.
Yes, and he's an Indy winner. Yep. I mean, there's no slackers in that field whatsoever.
No,
Michael Waltrip, a 2-time Daytona 500 winner, 3-time winner at Talladega. I mean, that's just super cool. And like I said, they need to expand it. I love that Tony Stewart did this, even though it did cost him his truck race at Eldora. Of course, he doesn't care. His late model races bring in the full crowd at Eldora anyway, the 100 does. Mm-hmm. But the fact that this series is so successful, because people are tired of follow the leader cup racing and watching on TV, and you can go out and sit in the grandstands at your local short track and watch the legends of every series in America race.
Right. That's the appeal, is that you've got the best of the best in so many series, and you have a local hero that has the potential to come, like the Cinderella story.
Yeah, even though the only one that's done anything is Bubba Pollard, but we'll let that go. But I mean, and I know we talk about Bubba Pollard, but he's our hero. He's our driver we pick, and he's our guy, so we have to talk about him. But congratulations to Bobby Labonte, one of the nicest guys that ever raced a stock car. Yep. Was a Cup champion for Joe Gibbs, a Busch Grand National champion back in the day. His brother's a Cup champion. And that's just to see those guys still get after it. And the thing about it is the passion. Tony Stewart snatched up Ernie Francis the last race because he was pissed off. And I love the passion. It's not like they're out there just for a show. They're out there to win. They want to win. They don't go out there just to. I mean, I watched Michael Waltrip at Five Lakes sideways, chasing the car across the racetrack. These guys and Ernie Francis, he had a tire going down where he spun out. Remember?
Right.
And but he didn't quit.
No.
He kept digging. He's driving everything. So they just the passion those guys shows. And like I said, Castroneves climbing the fence.
Yep.
That's just super cool, man. You don't see a regular guy do that on a regular Saturday night.
No.
Because my fat butt ain't going to try it. I'll fall off the fence and hurt myself.
You'll bend the fence.
Probably bend up in the night of racing, but not anymore. I used to be like that. But I mean, it's to me, it's exciting and awesome. And I'm glad Tony did this. And I hope it continues to grow. And I just stay on the short tracks, Tony. Don't screw that up.
Yeah, that SRX series continues this Saturday night at I-55 up in Peebly. And Ken Schrader, I understand, is part of that field. And the last 2 races of the 6, we've gone through 4 now. The last 2 are on dirt.
Yep.
So now the tables have turned, and here comes Mr. Schrader.
Yep.
And, we all know him and Kenny Wallace. They run that modified, late model dirt thing all year. Look out for that Federated Auto Parts, which is actually the speedway I think they're running at.
It is.
Watch out for Kenny Schrader.
Well, here's a little tidbit. Kenny Schrader owns I-55, so he's probably got a few laps around that place. just a few. Maybe not a lot, just a couple. I'm sure he tests all his modifieds there. So, yeah, I'd say Schrader would be the favorite. I would love to see Kenny Schrader win those races. I would love to see Kenny Wallace win one of those races because Kenny Wallace is another character. I follow him on Facebook, and if you don't follow his fan page, dude, you will laugh your butt off some of the times. He is so funny.
Yeah, funny, down to earth. And, if Ken Schrader's got a day off, instead of mowing the lawn, he's going to fire his late model or a big block modified or something. He's going to go out there and run Peebly. I-55 and get some laps in there and say, I've got my workout today.
See if I can figure something else out here.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what's so great about that series. Guys like Kenny Schrader, Tony Stewart. I mean, Schrader is an awesome character. I've met him. He's a great guy. I met Tony Stewart. He's a nice guy. But I mean, just like I said, these guys, the only thing I wish they would do is some more fan access to the drivers. This little thing they had with the autograph session, there's no way you're going to get it all done in the time they're going to try to do it. And they're there all day long. Put them in an air-conditioned tent and let people come through and get autographs or talk to them. Or if you want to have a paid autograph session, we pay $10.
Yeah.
Do something like that. And that's just the only thing I can say bad about it. It's just the fact that I was wanting to go get some autographs, but I'm not going to stand there for 45 minutes to an hour and them tell you, well, if you're up in the stands, you're stuck up in the stands when I got a pit pass and I'm supposed to be down there with my friends. So I get that. That's the only thing I see. That's it.
Yeah.
Everything else is great. The racing's great. The competition with the local guys is great. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Yeah, the SRX series there at Nashville, being the highlight of that weekend on Saturday night. Bobby Labonte comes away with the win over Marco Andretti and Matt Kenseth. Looking for his 9th Slinger win. Didn't quite happen. I think he finished 5th there, but finished 3rd at the SRX series, his debut, I believe. And we look forward to updating the results from I-55 next Saturday night on the dirt track. Before we sign up, I want to give out a couple of shouts to a 15-year-old that won his first track championship, Gabe Brown, in 2018. He was the youngest super late model champion in history at Oxford Plains, and he wins a 150-lap Pass North Series, which is Pro All-Star Series, over Joey Dorian and Jeremy Warp. And I just want to give him congratulations to him. Gabe Brown, keep digging, bro, and keep winning races. Fever the Heat 100 at Stewart International Speedway Monday night, which is just 2 days ago. Jonathan Davenport, we talked about these dirt late model guys getting after it for 10, 20 grand. Him coming away with the win on Monday night, and then Bobby Pierce, and we saw the videos. 3-4 wide, come down to the last Bennett, and Bobby Pierce takes off what they call smooth operator.
Operator.
And he did just that for the win. What do you say? I mean, that was a plate full of racing just Saturday, this weekend, two nights ago, last night. It's so cool to have you guys over here and talk all this stuff and catch up. Wow, what can I say?
Well,
we packed a lot into this one.
Oh yeah, we did. And by the way, if you like what you hear, please like and subscribe us. Give us a 5-star You can now do it on Spotify. Anywhere you listen, you can give us a thing. It helps us get up the charts and helps more people listen to us. And share it with your friends and tell them to give us a listen. If you see that blue Chevrolet driving around with short track guys on the back of it, that's me. Beep the horn at me, a wave, and say something at the racetrack, because we really want you guys to listen and help us out here, because we just do this for you guys so you can learn a little more about what we love, our passion.
I mean, your listening and your support is our motivation. So we said that from the very beginning, and that's what keeps us going from week to week. So, guys, I think there's only one really thing left that we have to top off, and it's a 1, 2, 3.
Let's go, Brandon.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Good night, everybody.